Hey there, beautiful brains! Welcome to The Walking Thread, where we unravel the tangled yarn of human existence. Today, we're diving headfirst into our collective quirks. Sometimes humanity acts like it left its common sense in the dryer. So buckle up, Buttercup, for the top 10 biggest oops moments in human history. It's going to be a wild ride. Grab your thinking caps or a comfy pillow and prepare to question everything. We're talking about the kind of stuff that makes you go, wait, we do that? And we're gonna dissect it all with the precision of a surgeon. But hey, who needs caffeine when you have existential dread? We're not just pointing fingers and laughing though. Okay, maybe a little laughing, but we're also gonna try and understand why we do these things. Because sometimes, the biggest stupidities are rooted in the deepest parts of what makes us human. It's like a cosmic prank the universe is playing on us. And guess what? We're all in on the joke. So let's embrace the absurdity, shall we? This isn't just a list, it's a journey. A journey into the heart of human, well, let's just call it interestingness. From repeating the same mistakes, like that ex you just can't seem to quit, to destroying the very planet that keeps us alive. Oops, we're covering it all. So get ready to laugh, cry, and maybe even learn a thing or two. Because if we can't laugh at ourselves, who can we laugh at? Okay, maybe not everyone, but definitely ourselves. Let's go. Okay, first up on our list of human greatest hits, repeating the same mistakes. We're like that broken record player that keeps skipping on the same sad song. We know it's gonna hurt, but we just can't seem to resist hitting that play button again, and again, and again. It's like we're addicted to the drama. Think about it, how many times have you sworn you'd never eat a whole pizza by yourself again? Or how many times have you said, this is the last time I'm texting my toxic ex? We're creatures of habit, all right? We do this on a grand scale too. Wars, economic crises, environmental disasters, we keep making the same blunders over and over again. It's like we have collective amnesia, or maybe we just really enjoy a good dumpster fire. Who knows? The human mind is a mysterious place. It's like a messy room where you can never find anything. We know the boss's weaknesses, we have the right weapons, but we just can't seem to get past that one tricky jump. And instead of learning from our mistakes, we just keep throwing ourselves at it, hoping for a different outcome. Spoiler alert, it usually doesn't end well. But hey, at least we're persistent, right? So why do we do this to ourselves? Why do we keep hitting the snooze button on our own self-improvement? Well, there are a lot of theories. Some say it's because we're wired to seek comfort and familiarity, even if that comfort is disguised as a flaming pile of garbage. It's like we're drawn to the chaos, like moths to a particularly dysfunctional flame. Others say it's because we're just plain bad at learning from our mistakes. We're so busy blaming everyone else or making excuses for our own behavior that we never actually stop to think, hey, maybe I should do something differently this time. It's like we're stuck in a perpetual loop of self-sabotage. And honestly, it's kind of impressive in a morbidly fascinating kind of way. Then there's the whole emotional baggage thing. We carry around our past hurts and traumas like they're designer handbags. We're so afraid of letting go that we end up recreating the same patterns in our lives, hoping for a different ending. It's like we're trying to rewrite the script of our own personal rom-com, but we keep casting the same villain. And spoiler alert again, it usually doesn't end well. But hey, don't worry, there's hope. We can break free from these cycles of self-destruction. It just takes a little self-awareness, a lot of effort, and maybe a therapist or two, but it's totally doable. We just have to stop hitting that play button and start writing a new song. A song about growth, change, and maybe even a little bit of self-love. Because let's be real, we deserve a good soundtrack. Okay, next up on our list of questionable life choices, destroying the planet. You know, the one that gives us air to breathe, water to drink, and food to eat. The one that's like essential for our survival. Yeah, that one. We're kind of trashing it, like really trashing it. It's like we're hosting a party and the planet is our house. And we're just letting everyone spill their drinks on the carpet and break all the furniture. We know we're messing things up. Scientists have been warning us for decades. We see the melting glaciers, the rising sea levels, the extreme weather events. It's like the planet is sending us a very strongly worded email. Subject line, SOS! We're kind of dying over here. But we're just hitting the mark as unread button and hoping it goes away. We're so busy arguing about whether climate change is real that we're forgetting to actually do anything about it. It's like we're on a sinking ship, and instead of bailing out the water, We're arguing about who gets to wear the captain's hat. Spoiler alert, we're all going down with the ship if we don't start working together. And the worst part is, we're not just hurting ourselves, we're also jeopardizing the future of our planet and all the other living things that call it home. It's like we're throwing a giant tantrum and taking everyone down with us. It's not a good look. We need to grow up and start taking responsibility for our actions, like yesterday. So, why are we so intent on self-sabotage on a planetary scale? Well, part of it is our obsession with short-term gains. We're so focused on making money and consuming stuff that we're not thinking about the long-term consequences. It's like we're eating a giant bag of candy and ignoring the inevitable stomach ache. We prioritize convenience over sustainability. We want our cheap flights and our fast fashion and our single-use plastics. We want it all, and we want it now. It's like we're toddlers in a toy store, except the toys are destroying the planet. And the tantrums are, well, also destroying the planet. We're also really good at rationalizing our bad behavior. We tell ourselves that our individual actions don't matter, that it's up to governments and corporations to fix the problem. It's like we're all trying to be the bystander in a superhero movie, hoping someone else will step up and save the day. But guess what? We're all part of the problem and we all need to be part of the solution. But here's the good news. It's not too late to turn things around. We can still make a difference. We just need to start making different choices. We need to choose sustainable practices over convenience, long-term thinking over short-term gains, and collective action over individual apathy. We need to be the heroes of our own story. Because let's be real, the planet needs us. Okay, so picture this. You're reaching for that third slice of pizza, even though you're full, but your brain's like, it's okay, it's practically a vegetable. That, my friends, is self-deception in action. We're masters of illusion, but the magician and the audience are both us. It's like trying to hide your own birthday present from yourself. You kind of know where it is, but you pretend you don't. We convince ourselves we're not procrastinating, we're strategically delaying, we're not ignoring red flags, we're giving them the benefit of the doubt. We're basically professional excuse makers, but for ourselves. It's a talent, really. A slightly destructive, potentially embarrassing talent, but a talent nonetheless. So, what's the big deal with a little self-deception? It's harmless, right? Wrong. It's like slowly poisoning yourself with tiny doses of denial. You might not feel the effects immediately, but over time it can wreak havoc on your life. It's like ignoring a check engine light. Sure, you can keep driving for a while, but eventually your car is going to explode. Metaphorically speaking, of course. This constant state of denial prevents us from growing and learning from our mistakes. It's like trying to run a marathon with your shoelaces tied together. You're going to trip, you're going to fall, you're going to face plant into the pavement, and then you're going to get up, retie your metaphorical shoelaces with more lies, and try to run again. It's a vicious cycle of self-sabotage. Okay, let's talk about validation. That sweet, sweet nectar of social approval. We all crave it, right? It's like a drug. We get a little taste and we want more. We post a selfie and we anxiously refresh the page, waiting for those likes to roll in. Each notification is a tiny hit of dopamine, a fleeting moment of feeling seen, appreciated, loved. But what happens when that external validation becomes our primary source of self-worth? That, my friends, is the validation trap. It's like quicksand. The more you struggle, the deeper you sink. We start shaping ourselves to fit the mold of what we think others want us to be. We change our clothes, our hair, our opinions, our entire personalities to gain acceptance. It's uncomfortable, it's restrictive, and it's ultimately unsustainable. We become chameleons, constantly adapting to our surroundings, losing sight of who we truly are in the process. It's like trying to be a different flavor of ice cream for every person you meet. Eventually, you just melt into a puddle of insecurity. We become so focused on pleasing others that we neglect our own needs and desires. We say yes to things we don't want to do. We go to places we don't want to go. We pretend to be someone we're not, all for the sake of fitting in. It's like being a puppet on a string, constantly being manipulated by the invisible hands of societal expectations. We're so busy trying to impress everyone else that we forget to impress ourselves. We forget to ask ourselves, what do I want? What makes me happy? And the worst part? The validation we seek is often fleeting and superficial. It's like building a house on a foundation of sand. It looks impressive at first, but it's not built to last. One wave of criticism, one negative comment, and the whole thing crumbles. We're left feeling empty and unfulfilled, constantly chasing the next hit of approval. It's an exhausting cycle, and it's not a recipe for happiness. So, how do we escape the validation trap? How do we stop seeking external validation and start cultivating self-love? Recognize that your worth is not determined by other people's opinions. Start by tuning out the noise. Create a space for yourself where you can connect with your inner voice. Focus on your own values and priorities. Forgive yourself for your mistakes. Treat yourself with the same love and respect that you would offer to your best friend. Okay, let's talk about love. Love can be amazing, but it can also be incredibly painful, especially when we love people who harm us. It's like clinging to a cactus. You know it's going to hurt, but you can't seem to let go. We tell ourselves that they'll change, that they didn't mean to hurt us, that we can fix them. It's like trying to rebuild a crumbling house with duct tape and hope. But true intimacy is about vulnerability, trust, and respect. One is exciting but ultimately unstable, while the other is calming and comforting. Leaving a toxic relationship is incredibly difficult. It's like ripping off a Band-Aid that's been stuck to your skin for years. It's going to hurt, it's going to bleed, but it's necessary for healing. The first step is recognizing that you deserve better. You deserve to be loved, cherished, and respected. You deserve a relationship that brings you joy, not pain. It's like realizing that you deserve a 5-star meal, not a bowl of stale cereal. Start by setting boundaries. Communicate your needs clearly and firmly. Don't be afraid to say no. Don't be afraid to walk away from situations that are harming you. It's like building a fence around your heart, protecting it from those who would trample on it. It's not about being selfish, it's about self-preservation. Surround yourself with people who support and uplift you. Find your tribe, your chosen family, the people who see your worth and celebrate your strengths. It's like creating a garden of love and positivity, nurturing your soul with kindness and compassion. These are the people who will water your growth, not poison your roots. And most importantly, focus on self-love. Treat yourself with the same kindness and compassion that you would offer to a dear friend. Forgive yourself for your mistakes. Celebrate your successes, no matter how small. Remember that you are worthy of love, worthy of happiness, worthy of all the good things life has to offer. It's like giving yourself a giant bear hug, a reminder that you are strong, you are resilient, and you are capable of anything. Imagine you and your bestie arguing over the last slice of pizza. Do you go for a karate chop to the neck? No, unless it's pineapple pizza. But countries, they skip the talking and go straight to fighting. It's like they forgot how to use their words. We have so many ways to communicate now. We can talk to someone across the world in seconds. So why are we still blowing things up? It's like choosing a smoke signal over an iPhone. It just doesn't make sense. We're living in the future, but acting like we're in a history book. Somebody get these countries a therapist? Stat. Conflicts could be solved with communication and compromise. Can we all agree that world peace is better than global destruction? Okay, so we've established that war is bad, like really bad. But how do we break the cycle? It's like a bad rom-com. We keep watching even though we know it's going to end in tears. We need to rewrite the script, people. And the first step is education. We need to teach kids, and some adults, let's be real, about empathy and conflict resolution. Imagine a world where everyone knew how to communicate effectively. Like imagine if instead of throwing punches, people threw compliments. Instead of building walls, they built bridges, literally and figuratively. It might sound cheesy, but it's possible. We just need to invest in the right things, like education, diplomacy, and, maybe a worldwide pizza party to practice our sharing skills. Think about it. We spend so much money on weapons, but what if we redirected that money towards peace initiatives? What if we funded programs that taught people how to resolve conflicts peacefully? We could literally create a world where war is a thing of the past. It's like choosing to buy a lifetime supply of avocados instead of a tank, way more satisfying in the long run. And it's not just about governments and big organizations. We all have a role to play. We can start by being more mindful of how we interact with each other. Let's practice active listening, empathy, and compassion. Let's choose kindness over conflict, understanding over ignorance. It's like choosing to be the sprinkles on the donut of life instead of the whole. Everyone loves sprinkles. Okay, let's talk about power. Not the kind that comes from a wall socket, but the kind that makes people do weird stuff. Like, have you ever noticed how some people get a little intense when they're in charge? It's like they suddenly forget how to be a normal human. They turn into tiny dictators, ruling their little kingdoms with an iron fist. And it's not always about countries. It can happen in families, workplaces, even friend groups. It's like they're on a power trip, and they're not stopping for any bathroom breaks. They micromanage everything, they demand constant praise, and they crush anyone who dares to challenge them. It's exhausting to be around, and frankly, a little embarrassing to watch. It's like watching someone try to parallel park for 20 minutes. You just want to yell, "Just give it up!" The thing is, true power isn't about control. It's about influence. It's about inspiring others to be their best selves, not forcing them to do your bidding. It's like being the cool camp counselor who everyone looks up to, not the drill sergeant who makes everyone miserable. One builds you up, the other breaks you down. And let's be real, the need for control often stems from insecurity. It's like wearing a really loud outfit to distract from the fact that you're nervous. True confidence comes from within, not from the number of people you can boss around. It's time to ditch the power trip and embrace the power of collaboration and kindness. Okay, so if power isn't about control, then what is it about? Well, for starters, it's about sharing. Sharing knowledge, sharing resources, sharing opportunities. It's like having a giant bag of candy and letting everyone have some, instead of hoarding it all for yourself and ending up with a stomachache. Think about the most influential people in history. They weren't the ones who were obsessed with control. They were the ones who empowered others. They were the ones who shared their vision, their passion, their resources. They lifted people up instead of pushing them down. They were like the human equivalent of a confetti cannon, spreading joy and inspiration everywhere they went. And sharing isn't just about material things. It's about sharing your time, your talents, your energy. It's about being present for others, listening to their stories and offering support. It's like being a human hug warm, comforting, and always appreciated. So next time you feel the urge to control everything, take a deep breath and ask yourself, what can I share instead? Share your knowledge, share your resources, share your love. You'll be surprised at how much more powerful you become when you stop trying to control everything and start focusing on connection and collaboration. All right, let's talk about fairness, or rather, the lack thereof. Have you ever played a game where the rules are rigged against you? It's not fun, right? Well, that's kind of what systemic inequality is like. It's like playing Monopoly, where someone starts with all the properties and hotels, and you start with like $2 and a get-out-of-jail-free card that doesn't actually work. It's a system where certain groups of people are disadvantaged from the start simply because of who they are. It's like being assigned to the slow lane in Mario Kart. You're putting in the same effort, but you're just not going to get ahead. And it's not just about money, although that's a big part of it. It's about access to education, healthcare, opportunities, and even basic human rights. It's like being stuck in a never-ending game of chutes and ladders, where the chutes are strategically placed to keep certain people down. And the ladders? Well, they're often missing altogether. It's a system that perpetuates cycles of poverty, discrimination, and injustice. It's like a broken record that keeps skipping on the same sad song. And it's not enough to just say, well, just work harder. Because even if you climb a few ladders, there's a good chance you'll land on a chute that sends you right back down. We need to fix the game itself, not just tell people to play it better. We need to level the playing field so that everyone has a fair shot. Okay, so we know the current system is messed up, but how do we fix it? It's like trying to untangle a giant ball of yarn. Where do you even begin? We need to have honest conversations about how inequality manifests itself in our societies. And it's not just about talking, it's about taking action. It's like rebuilding the Monopoly board so that everyone has a fair chance to win. Have you ever spent a night replaying that awkward thing you said in third grade? Yeah, me too. It's like my brain's a broken record player. We get so caught up in past regrets trying to rewrite history. But guess what? We can't. And that's okay. Ditch the regret train and hop on the present moment express. It's got way better snacks, trust me. Let it go, people. Let it go. Don't let that old soggy tea bag ruin your next cup of joy. On the flip side, worrying about the future is like trying to read a book that hasn't been written yet. You can stress about the characters, the plot, the ending, but you have no idea what's actually going to happen. You might even write the entire story in your head, filled with doom and gloom, and then the actual book turns out to be a hilarious rom-com. Talk about wasted energy. And let's be real, worrying is like rocking in a rocking chair. It gives you something to do, but it doesn't get you anywhere. You're putting in all this effort, all this emotional energy, and for what? A little back and forth motion? That's it? Instead of rocking your worries away, why not channel that energy into something productive, like, I don't know, learning to juggle chainsaws? Okay, maybe not that, but you get the idea. The future is this big, mysterious, unopened present. It could be filled with amazing surprises, incredible adventures, or socks. Who knows? But instead of shaking the box and trying to guess what's inside, why not just open it and find out? The anticipation is part of the fun. Embrace the unknown, people. It's where the magic happens. So stop trying to predict the future like you're some kind of fortune-telling octopus. You're not. Unless you are, in which case, can you tell me next week's lottery numbers? Focus on what you can control. Your actions, your thoughts, your dance moves. The future will unfold as it should, regardless of how much you fret about it. So, might as well enjoy the ride, right? Okay, so this one's a little deep, but let's talk about death. It's that thing we all know is coming, but we pretend isn't happening. Like that awkward family reunion you keep avoiding. It's inevitable, people. We're all gonna kick the bucket eventually. Might as well make peace with it, right? Living like we're immortal is like building a sandcastle during high tide. You can spend hours meticulously crafting the perfect turrets, the majestic drawbridge, but eventually the waves are going to come crashing in and wash it all away. It's the circle of life, Simba. Sorry, couldn't resist the Lion King reference. We get so caught up in the day-to-day grind, the pursuit of likes and followers, that we forget about the bigger picture. We're all just tiny specks of stardust on a giant spinning rock hurtling through space. And guess what? Our time on this rock is limited. So why are we wasting it on things that don't really matter? Seriously, who cares if your Instagram feed is perfectly curated? Live your life, people. Make it messy, make it real, make it count. Denying death is like ignoring a giant neon sign flashing "Your time is limited." It's there, it's blinking, but we choose to avert our eyes and pretend it doesn't exist. But guess what? That sign isn't going anywhere. So instead of ignoring it, why not use it as motivation? A reminder to make the most of every precious moment. Carpe diem, y'all. Seize the day. And maybe grab a slice of pizza while you're at it. Pizza is important. When we pretend death doesn't exist, we tend to prioritize the superficial. It's like choosing to eat a giant bowl of glitter instead of a nutritious meal. Sure, it looks sparkly and fun, but it's not going to sustain you. It's just going to give you a really weird poop. We chase after fleeting trends, material possessions, and the approval of strangers, as if these things will somehow make us immortal. But guess what? They won't. When your time comes, you're not going to be thinking about that designer handbag or how many likes you got on your latest selfie. You're going to be thinking about the connections you made, the experiences you had, the love you shared. So, invest in those things, people. They're the real treasures. Think of life as a giant all-you-can-eat buffet. You can fill your plate with junk food, sugary treats, and empty calories, or you can choose nourishing, fulfilling dishes that will fuel your body and soul. The choice is yours, but remember, you only get one plate, so make it count. And maybe sneak a few extra spring rolls. Spring rolls are delicious. Prioritizing the superficial is like building your house on a foundation of marshmallows. It might look cute and fluffy at first, but it's not going to last. Eventually, it's going to collapse under the weight of reality. So, build your life on a foundation of solid values, meaningful connections, and genuine experiences. Those are the things that will withstand the test of time. So, we've journeyed through the 10 biggest stupidities of humanity. Awareness is the first step towards change. By acknowledging these patterns, we can start to break free and create a more meaningful existence. Think of it like realizing you've been wearing mismatched socks all day. It's a little embarrassing, but now you can change them. These stupidities impact our relationships, communities, and planet. By understanding these patterns, we can make different choices. It's like realizing you've been driving in the wrong direction. Now you can turn around and get back on track. We have the power to rewrite our stories and create a more just, compassionate, and sustainable world. Hit that like button if you enjoyed this deep dive into the human psyche. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Stay curious, stay awesome, and let's walk through the threads together.